much for staying with us right here on your Women Radio WFM 91.7. I hope that you're doing well, you're feeling great, and of course, you are gearing up for the Valentine's Day. So, yesterday I was saying that even if you don't get love interest, it doesn't mean you should try to make yourself feel happy. Show yourself love. If you can go make your hair, go do it. If you can buy yourself some new clothing, go do it. Just show yourself the love that you deserve. Okay, because if you don't, there's nobody that will appreciate you the way you appreciate yourself. Okay, so just try as much as possible to do all of that. Yeah, this is your Women Radio WFM 91.7. And this is the program Highland. So we get to discuss, dissect, and disagree on topical issues right here on Women Radio. And this comes to you Monday through Fridays from 9:05 a.m. All right, did I say my name? Oh, well, my name is Rose Yusuf Kaiser. Just in case you join us for the very first time, we're glad that you are here with us this morning. All right, so yes, this morning I have Buki Femi Ajala. We started up with the day on the Daily News Review, and of course, we are here together on Highlands. Good morning, Buki.
Good
What do you
morning.
want to do?
Where are my people?
They will definitely come. You could know them. They will definitely be
Okay. All
here.
right.
You're welcome to Highlands right here on Women Radio. So yes, that's the voice of Buki, and we'll definitely get to have Ibinambo and maybe Susan join in a bit. All right, so a couple of things that we'll be talking about this morning. Now, you can be a part of the program by dialing 07000 You can also go ahead and dial 09155 Let's get to hear from you this morning. Let's get to hear your thoughts and, of course, your contributions to all of the things that we'll be looking at this morning. So yeah, the issue of this particular one that we're starting with, it's the issue of we talked about it earlier on the Daily News Review, and this has to do with the electronic transfer of election results. Okay, so now this has gotten a lot of reaction to the extent that protests was done at the National Assembly. We had different people come together to protest this because the Senate said, "Oh, okay," and transmission of electronic results, they just left that side of it, saying that, "Oh well, we're just going to use the former format, and we're just going to go with it in the next elections." And a lot of Nigerians came out to say, nope, it cannot be business as usual. It cannot be business as usual. It has to be electronic transfer of results from everywhere. So after all of the whole, calls from different civil societies, from Nigerians, the Senate, called an urgent meeting, sitting. And at that sitting, they decided that, okay, fine, we're going to do this, but we leave it to INEC. Okay, we're going to do the electronic transfer of results, but INEC has the upper hand in this. And then for places where they cannot transfer the results, then that means we will have to resort to manual transmission of results. Now, that in itself is leaving a loophole. That in itself is leaving somewhere open for everybody to come. Now, one of the people who came out to protest traveled all the way from where she was to the National Assembly just because of how the thing they do her. And she goes on to say that, well, she's a widow. Now, that bad governance made her a widow. She said that her husband was kidnapped and he was killed just 1 year after marriage, and she gave birth to twins. Now the husband is not even, he's not even alive to watch his twins grow. And so she's coming out to say that's why she came all the way from her place of residence to join them in this protest. Because even collecting ransom, even after collecting ransom, they still killed him. So that could not that could not leave the husband to be alive to actually go ahead and see his children grow. So because of that, she has come to join in the protest. And joining in the protest means that she is giving room for, she's saying that, well, electronic transfer of result has to happen so that everybody is able to vote, and let it be one man, one vote, one man, one vote. Because I mean, you could see a sheet and you're seeing 200 turn to 2000, or you're seeing 2000 turn to 200 on a sheet that you're looking at clearly. So a lot of things could actually happen and could actually go wrong when we're doing things manually. So because of all of these things, she traveled down to come. And this is just one person out of so many. And Nigerians have a choice to leave the government there, at the leadership position because they're doing well, or remove the present government because they're not doing well. So it's one of the two choices. So allow Nigerians to make the choice, and not try to sway Nigerians or make Nigerians feel like now do the choice, but now we could determine who would they there. So let's get your thoughts on this electronic transfer of results and what this lady has come out to say about her being a widow. What as we always hear, Nigeria happened to her, and now she's a widow, left with twins to cater for, and she just wants the electronic transfer of results. So let's get to hear from you, Buki. But before then, hi, Binabo. Good morning. You're welcome to Highlands today. Hope you're good.
Good morning. Good morning, Rose. Good morning, Buki. Good morning to all our. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Good morning to you too. So Buki, let's hear your thoughts on this before we head on to hear
All
from
right,
Binabo.
okay. So, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
All right, okay, fantastic. So, this is a practical example of my own perspective to this electronic transmission. My face is being shown on a different network, but you are hearing me on a different network, and that's why you see that. And that's because I realized that the one that my face is showing, the
Mm.
network was dragging, and all that. And I said, you know what? I have been I mean a trainer, you know these things. You have your backup one, backup two, so anyone you are ready. It's only if everything is down, like they shut down the internet during Uganda elections. So why am I starting with that? We had discussed it this morning, and
Yeah.
my own position is that it is possible if we put our heart to it, and we have the willpower to ensure that it's done. And this is even on the premise of what Inex said the last time. I don't know what their position now, but as at that time during the last election, it was that yes, it's something that it's possible. I'm not using their words, but the concept that it's very possible. And honestly, if you ask the networks, even if they have to boost, those low signal areas, I mean, it's something that they can do. The only thing is just to ensure that they have backup one, backup two, backup three. Both
Mm.
the mobile, the broadband, the fiber, and all that and all that. Yes, it's a bit expensive, but by the time they compare it, and particularly the trust, trust is very expensive. People have lost that, and that's why you find out that 70% of the people who collect the voters card do not vote. It's only about between 23, 27, 30%. Max, I think we've had that 3%. So where are the others? It is because the trust has been broken. So if this will make people come out to vote, that is, at least let's have maybe 80% or 90% of people who have the voters card, to come out to vote, then we have made a landmark. The only thing, as we are talking about transmission, is also to ensure that we also talk about, ensuring that it's transmitted securely. Because yes, they can transmit, but it might not be a secure one, that somebody will go and hijack it and tamper the figures. So by the time it's even getting there, it's already too late.
Hi, Buki. We can't seem to hear you. You are muted
Oh,
also.
okay. Sorry, I didn't even know when I muted it. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
What was the last word or statement I was making?
You talked about transmission of results. People coming out, one person, one vote,
Okay,
and all.
yes. Okay, yes. So I was just saying that the only issue I have with that transmission is that the issue of transmitting it in a secured environment so that people do not hijack it. Because if it's not secured, they can hack into the system and change the figures. So you just see 2 plus 2 is 10. They can even, I mean, professionals, if you sit them with the hackers, they will even tell you that even before the thing is transmitted, they have already uploaded it. You understand? They have already uploaded their own results, So as we are saying transmission, we should also be saying that we want it to be secured, and tamper-proof, that nobody will go in there to hack it and things like that. But if you ask me, do I want it? Yes, I do. And it's just to erase the gaps that we have seen. People will fill the form at the polling booth, the EC, whatever form. And by the time it gets to the next place of collating, before the main central, the figures have changed. And then by the time they get to the main collating center, the figures have changed. Even now, when they are now collating, you understand?
Mm-hmm.
We've seen a particular collating center that they had errors in computing, that I have to say, ordinary calculators would even do this thing. But in computing it, I know they have upgraded, to use screens and Excel and all that. But we have to be sure that all these things are done, because where you have human beings, there are chances of human intervention. And that is what we are talking about, e-transmission and electronic transmission. The human interference is minimal, except where it is not secure, that it can be hijacked, or what they have configured into the system. Maybe it's garbage in, garbage out. It's whatever you tell the system to do now. If you tell the system that when you see 2, show 20, and the system will show 20 now, and then you understand. So while we are pushing for this, which is where I also stand, we should also ensure that these things are done. But let's wait for INEC. They've said at the discretion now, they've talked about the fact that yes, they can transmit, and then where the internet is not strong, they can go do the manual one. But they now leave the process to the discretion of INEC. And I think that is where we lie now, that what is this man saying now? There's a lot of ambiguity. And then, like I mentioned this morning, we also have to have that position. By the time the House of Rep comes, they sit down, they agree, and then they now have to send it to Mr. President for ascension. And then after he does that, it has to be gazetted. It's still a long process, but let's just pray for the will of the Lord to be done. Thank you.
Thank you to Buki for giving us your thoughts on this. Hopefully we get it right this time around, because we know how the last election played out, and people just want good governance. People just want to stop saying Nigeria happened to us, and that's what we're looking at. All right, feel free to dial the numbers 07000 917 917. Also dial the number 09155 917 917. Please do well to send us WhatsApp and text messages to 070 317 56537. All right, Ibinabo, let's bring you in at this point. Let's get to hear your thoughts on what the woman came out to say, the mother of twins, who came out to say about what happened to her husband and why she left where she is to come here, to come to Abuja, or go to Abuja to join the protest for the electronic, transmission of results during elections, and why it is really important for her, because she's just after good governance. So she wants to see a change, and that's why she's there to join the protest. So let's hear your thoughts on this, on what's been happening and the way forward in a few minutes.
Okay, thank you. So I feel the pulse of that woman a bit. What the shoes you have not worn, you can't really explain whether it is well fitted or it's painful to put on and all of that. But we all know that losing a loved one is a very painful thing. We have lost loved ones at different points in time. What am I saying here? That woman's fear, they are very genuine, and then take care with levity. When we elect people into high offices like the office of Mr. President, office of the governor, office of the Senate or Senate leader, Senate president, House of Reps, and all of that, they have responsibilities towards the people. And one of the, for me, the main responsibility is security, because it takes a person who is secured to even enjoy sound health, to enjoy other dividends of democracy. So if you are not feeling secured, then it's almost like you're not enjoying anything. And you see, for whatever reason, for so many things going on and all of that, it is a symbolic fight for fairness and transparency from, looking at the past events and everything. And then for a woman who lost her husband to kidnappers, haven't paid ransom and all of that, that boils down to the level of insecurity that we experience today in Nigeria. And naturally, she would feel a certain resentment towards the government, towards the leadership of the country, because at that point, they failed her in providing security for her husband. And nobody could even trace these kidnappers. They paid them ransom, nobody could trace it and everything. So she had totally lost trust in the government of the day. And you can't blame her, because she has her good reasons for all of that. But my point is, you see, the omission of real time is a flashpoint here. Oh, real time. But for me, I am coming from an angle where I support a hybrid election result system. I'm not fully for electronic transfer. I'm not fully for physical result sheet. I'm standing for the two, because each will corroborate the other. We live in a country where we have had stories of ballot box snatchers. We live in a country where you hear certain figures at this polling unit, you hear something different at the collation center. So many things have happened. We have seen a lot in Nigeria, and this has informed our reaction. But my point is, I want us to be on hybrid election result system, because like the last election, I should I say supervised or monitored some polling units and in some local government, and I've come to realize that the problem does not just lie with the way we release results alone, which I'm saying that we should support a hybrid election results system. It also has to do with party agents, because in each polling booth you will have, you can't have all the parties and their agents, because some people can't even afford to engage services of an agent and all of that. But the major parties, we're talking about the APC, the PDP, Labour, and some other parties, then there were APGA and all of that, are a bit, in the faces of the people. What are the activities of your party agents? Because they also contribute to the inadequacies that we tie to INEC. Some party agents, they have seen that, okay, this is the result of the election, and they are fine. If another agent walks up to you and tells you that, look, please, can you please agree that we signed that we scored so and so number, and they didn't score up to that, and they want to grease the palm of that particular agent, and he agrees or she agrees, they are going to leave that place with the wrong results. So the problem is hydra-headed, but one of it is demanding for transparency and accountability from the leadership of the country. And the Senate president is the number 3 man in the country after the president and the vice president. So he is an important figure in this matter. That is why probably they took the grouse to the Senate, because the Senate is very important, as well as the House of Reps. But the Senate head, which is the Senate president, is the number 3 man. So his stance is very, very important, and it could bring about a very desirable change. And I am saying that let us deal with hybrid election result system. Okay. Whereby at the polling units, you have the results collated, everything will be counted in the presence of voters, party agents, and all. And then the security personnel on ground shouldn't pay attention to just one party agent. You are paid to secure everybody. You're not there for a particular party. That's another problem that we have. You see security personnel on ground, and you feel a bit safe that, okay, there's a measure of security on ground. And before you know it, they are particularly supporting a party. And they're supposed to be political. They're supposed to be non-partisan. They're supposed to secure everyone present at the polling unit, except you're trying to create a problem. Then they can now want to deal with you. But outside of that, you have no business trying to secure a set of people. These are some of the things I observed in these various polling units. And of course, you know why I'm even calling for hybrid is because not all areas have good internet. Where network is available, results immediately. But when network is poor, results are uploaded later at a security location, or a secure location rather. So if you are strictly dealing with electronic transfer of results alone, then there will be agitation against any, and if we are talking about real-time election result upload, what of areas where there is no network? We are all struggling with network. I'm using a different network to do this. My other network, if I use it, you can't see me. If you want to hear and see me, it's not going to work. I can't explain that I'm not an engineer in that area. So you see, these are issues. At the polling unit, voters should still be counted in front of voters and party agents, and the results should be written on paper forms. Everyone present can see.
We have a call. Sorry, let me just pause you there. We have a call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, ladies. Yes, good morning.
Hi, Mrs. Oboli, good morning. You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Good morning to everyone. Everyone has spoken beautifully well this morning. Let's start from the woman that went out to protest. If you were to do a vox populi and ask everybody if they would love to also come out in protest on what is on ground, I'm sure the majority of Nigerians, if not all, will tell you nobody is okay with the state of the nation as it were, security-wise, economy-wise, everything, the narrow yards. And that would, the resentment, the bitterness would give birth to people coming out to say, this has to stop. What we want is good governance. Put 10 of these things on the table and everybody would pick that same thing, good governance. Some could be in the area of economy, others in the area of insecurity, different strokes for different folks. But we can all agree on one table that what we want is something to better the average, the life of the average Nigerian citizen. Now, why people trooped out for the last election in 2023 was because we had this confidence that when everything would come out, there would be accountability. When you come out, your vote would count because you promised to put the people first. And then the beavers were working, electronic transmission was working, everything was working concurrently well. Only at the end of the election for the presidency, they told us there were glitches. The glitches that did not mark the other elections suddenly popped up in the presidential election, and the next thing we're told to go to court. What you and I can agree on this morning is this, that what we want is, even if I'm going to fail as a candidate that said I want to vote or I want to come out and contest, let's be that nobody, there was no man-made glitch, there was no man-made inefficacy, there was no man-made inefficiency to say I failed because this person tampered with this election result. In the last election, our professors and returning officers, they became artists. They began to color, they began to mastermind, they began to do different things. It was glaring, none was hidden. All because they wanted to rig the elections. If I'm going to fail as a candidate, or if I'm going to fail out and say, okay, after I voted, my election did not count, I would say let that happen because I did not meet up to the numbers. Not because somebody did me in. That is what we're talking about here. Everybody consulting brighter grammar. What is transfer? What is transmission? How come if they want to read, if they want to do certain anomalies, if they want to do gross ineptitude, they want to commit offenses, and then you start looking for how to pattern the English language to tailor or suit your own narrative. That's my point this morning. If we all come on the same table and say, I want to do this without a price conscience. I have not been priced by whoever is dictating the tune. I have not been paid by a piper dancing or a puppet on the screen somewhere. Then we will all say what we want is good governance, like the ladies are clamoring this morning. All I am saying is, if I vote as a citizen, let my vote count. Let me see that what I voted for is being accounted for. Nobody should shush me and tell me not to come out because I am Igbo, I am Yoruba, I am Hausa. Do you know what happened in my area here? If you don't vote for a certain party, you cannot come out. People were openly threatened. Who was held accountable? I don't want to go to that same Lagos in 2027. And before now, if I am an electorate and you are telling me transmission, and you want me to come out, please. The media is going to have a hard time convincing people to come out. And these people tried on voter apathy to rig the elections. And we are saying, if you must convince me to come out and, practice in this voting and, exercise my franchise as an average Nigerian citizen, let me learn from my mistake.
Right.
Let me I made it counted. Don't push everybody to my throat. Me. I am the voice. I am the one feeling the pain. I am the one wearing the shoe. As I'm talking this morning, I am in tears. I told you, my daughter is in school. She can't come for the festival period because of insecurity. People that were kidnapped. But those that were kidnapped, it's not because they touch you. It's not because they were unfortunate. Something happens somewhere. It could be anybody any day tomorrow. All we are saying is a government that works, that can provide basic amenities for the average Nigerian citizen. You think people will come out the way they came out in 2023? They won't. Because we are scared of what happens when we come out to vote. If I am sure my vote will not count, why will you tell me on air, go and get your PVC, go and vote? The Nigerian citizen now is apathetical about what happens. They will put themselves there. But all I am saying, whether you call it transfer, whether you call it transmission, I want my votes to count. Is that too much to ask as an electorate? It's not. But when you start rigging the process already against the person that wants to go and vote, what are you telling me? That if I come out, is either you chase me away or I won't, or if I vote, it won't count. Where people voted massively, the ballots were burnt. We talked about that one.
Yeah.
It's annoying. Okay. You are also the issues, but I'm saying whoever is making this laws or reform or amendments or trying to correct in English, I want my vote to count as the average woman, the average man, the parliament tapper. They just want their vote to count and a government that is up and running. Good morning, ladies.
All right, thank you very much, Mrs. Oboli. We can feel the passion and the emotions from your voice this morning. Thank you so much for calling. So, Ibinaba, quickly wrap up on your thoughts on this so that we can move on to other stories.
Okay, thank you. We can all feel the impact of what leadership is all about in Nigeria. We speak in one voice. People are saying push, some people are saying push. Middle suffers so.
I think we have another call. Hello, good morning. Good morning, Pastor Ambrose.
Good morning. Yeah, we can go for another day. Yeah, education is, I greet all of you. Well, we hear different application of what transmission is all about. But I think the summary of it all is that we want a free, fair, credible, and transparent election. That's all Nigerians are demanding for. And if you look at this very government, they have 30 governors, We have members of House of Reps, senators, and all of that, and yet they are afraid to give us a free, fair, and credible election. You all know what
Can't seem to
happened.
hear you anymore.
How, you say what?
Go ahead,
I thought you
please.
said
Quickly wrap
something.
up on yourself, please.
So, okay. Um, so what Nigerians are asking for is free, fair, and credible election. And what it simply means is that immediately after the election, write those things down on the form or whatever, ECH form or whatever, and then transmit immediately. That's all. If until we begin to have free, fair, and credible election in this country, I am telling you, our politicians, they will not sit up, they will not behave themselves. That's why we are where we are now. And if you are a well-meaning Nigerian, you must, allow for a free, fair and credible election. The politicians we have, they are not well-meaning Nigerians. They don't mean well for us. I don't want to take much of your time. God bless you.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Pastor Ambrose, for calling. We do appreciate your call this morning, and how we can move forward. It's quite a lot on all of us. We just want a better Nigeria. We just want a country that works. That's just all we are looking for. And if we can get all of these things, I think everybody's everybody's mind will be settled. All right. So, Ibinabo, do we move on? Are you just have like one or two things to say? Then we move on.
The talk will finish now, so we can't dwell on this particular one for so long. What I want to say is Nigerians should be able to track results online.
Sure.
We should be able to track results online so that we can even compare. Okay, if result from my polling unit is up there, I can check and confirm whether they have actually uploaded the right result or they have tweaked it here and there. It's important. It calls for transparency. All this wahala has to do with a deeper anxieties about electoral credibility. That is the problem we have. Electoral credibility. That's why I'm saying that for me, I totally support hybrid election result system. Let us come in with the electoral, electronic, whatever, whether they are transmitting or transferring, whatever, and then let us still use paper form to fill and let party agents sign. And parties should try and talk to their agents. Don't go to polling units and begin to collect money and then agree on wrong results because they have given you some 5,000, some 10,000 naira, which cannot even for 2 days before you finish it.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Ibinabo. This is your Women Radio WFM 91.7, and this is where we get to discuss, dissect, and disagree on topical issues right here on Women Radio. And it's about 90 minutes to 10 on this side of the radio. Please do well to follow us on our conversations. Go to YouTube and watch us live at WFM 917. So let's quickly talk about something, and hopefully we can cover the rest of the stories that we have to cover this morning. One is about this kind of skits that we get to see. A lot of times, this skits that we watch and laugh about, there are a lot of innocent Nigerians who get involved in this skit unknowingly, and this gets to affect them, their health and all. So Ibinabo sent me a particular skit yesterday, and for me, I just looked at it and laughed until she drew my attention to the fact that the man who was at the center of it was already, in fact, you could see the fear written all over. The person that was performing the skit himself had to leave, in fact, come out of character to actually let the person know that, no, this is just a comedy, it's just a skit, to calm down. And they had to look for doctors for him because probably his heart, the heart rate was already, skyrocketing, going out of its normal, beat rate. The probably blood pressure, um, um, count all of it, that could actually be going on. So imagine you're in the hospital and then they stroll, they bring a trolley that has a dead body in it, and then the dead body just gets up and is talking to you directly. Now imagine what you will face, not knowing that it was just a skit, for clicks and for people to laugh about. Now imagine what that person has gone through. So now we are laughing at the expense of that innocent Nigerian who did not even know that that was a skit. And most of the times, that's what we find ourselves. So how far do we go to perform these things just to get reaction, for clicks, likes, and laugh, and just to gain popularity? So I will just give us few minutes, maybe 2 minutes to talk about this, and maybe warn ourselves, because this is getting out of hand. Everybody wants to trend. Everybody wants his or kids to be out there, but at what cost? To what extent? Let's start with you, Binabu, and then Buki concludes this first. You're muted, Binabu. We can't hear you. Ah. Ibinabu, I only said you were muted, though. I'm guessing she mistakenly pressed the red button. Okay, so Buki, let's start with you before Ibinabu comes back.
Yeah, she will come back. She pressed the wrong button. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I was just thinking. In fact, to be honest, when I was watching it, because you posted it,
Yeah.
I knew that some of them, and I ended up laughing. But you had warned us that we should not fall off our seats. But then
Yeah.
I now saw the reaction of the
Mm-hmm.
guy. Because he was afraid. I'm sure the heart had jumped out. It was like, this is real. Why would a dead body come after me? And then you say, I'm not the one that killed you. I'm not the one that killed you. And for me, it was like, I think we need to begin to get to a point where we need to be careful of how we make the skits. I know we talked about the cyber crime, cyber bullying, and all that. So maybe now we'll now begin to add trauma to it too. Because to be honest, some skits, I mean, it is because we are watching it. We are not in the skit itself. But when they do this, is it books or whatever it is that, they just catch people unaware and all that and all that. Some of them are a bit dangerous. It could lead to hypertension, it could lead to accidents, and things like that. I hope there is a place in the law that they can hold on to. For instance, if because of that skit, this guy has hypertension or BP, or look at even the lady that ran out. She could have run into a moving car.
Yeah.
Or she could have run into something that would injure her. Probably her face got injured, she got blind and things like that. Will they come back to come and hold these people, and make them pay for their sins? And then that is when their eye open that, oh, it was a skit and all that. I mean, if they are using their own troop, their own cast, it's fine. But when they're now using ordinary innocent people,
exactly,
that you do not know what they are going through, you don't know their health status, you don't know what traumatic experience they are going through, you don't know their reaction to what you are doing. I think they need to talk to themselves that if they're acting things like this, let them use their own cast. At least their own cast. I mean, let them go and use actors. Actors can act like it is real. You understand? So that we don't have this thing. But I know that by the time people begin to sue them for things, they will be able to address and reform that their sector. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Ibn Abuki, for your thoughts on that. Ibn Abo, do we have you back? I guess you pressed the wrong button.
Okay.
So let's just hear from you.
I'm glad to be back anyways. Yeah, talking about all this, you see, what is content to one person can be a medical trigger to another person. These people lack understanding. You go out to the roads, you come up with jump scare tactics, you come up with, there was one I saw that had a sudden loud sound, like gunshots, and people were scared, they were running skelter. Even some people even this particular was around where they were eating, roadside food seller. And foods were all over the place on the ground. That man could have spent his last card to buy that food, and you wasted the food for him. There was one that nearly ran into a moving vehicle. So you see, all of this thing will spike blood pressure instantly. It will trigger palpitations. It will create dizziness. All of this is when everything in your body is just, running riot. You feel dizzy, and then the next thing you're in the hospital because somebody wants to create content. See, like Buki said, whether we have laws, yes, we have laws. Directly or indirectly, we have laws. If a prank or skit causes fear, panic, or harm, even where there is no physical contact, it can be treated still as assault under Nigerian law. So if they don't know, they should go and read. They should go and look at it. They will get into trouble they will never come out of. Now, causing someone to fear, imminent harm, what is it again? Pretending to attack can be legally construed as assault. When you walk up to somebody and just scare the person suddenly, you don't know what this person is thinking about. You don't know what this person is going through. I told somebody some time ago that I walked from, it's like coming to radio station, and then maybe I had so much on my mind, and I walked from the radio station to Arepo bus stop, but I didn't know when I got to Arepo bus stop. Because I was lost. What if somebody just jumped in my face and scared me? That's why I would just pass on. So you see, you don't know what people are going through. You don't know what people are thinking. So if a prank dictator, you can sue this person. Why do we report when people are creating nuisance in the community? You are disturbing the peace of a community. So you can be sued. There's so many. Also, we're not looking at, I'm rushing this because of time. Also, we're not looking at privacy and consent.
We'll start up with the next story tomorrow. So let's just conclude on this one.
Posting pranks without the clear consent of persons can also violate privacy rights. And the people can sue you. You see, I think we need to begin to create awareness. Some people don't think, they just want to make money. They want to gain traction. They want the clicks and the likes so that they can get paid. They can be monetized and all of that, but not at the risk of people's health. So many people are about the town, going up and down, being busy without knowing that their blood pressure is already on the edge of wahala. Then such a person who is busy going up and down, look at, we just discussed this voters, INEC and all of its wahala. We are talking about the economy and everything. People are saddled with a lot. And then because you want to create content, you just come up with a jump scare or come up with something that sounds like a gunshot to scare people, or you go to the hospital and then prank them with a dead body, and then you think you are being funny. Somebody needs to land them a very bad blow. Let them lose a tooth. I'm not promoting violence, but you see, when you are doing things without thinking, then you are going to be a victim of the mob. It is very wrong. I have seen a place where, Rose, there's a certain agency, a logistic agency, that has been accused of stealing women's wigs. I don't know where you have come across it. They have been accused of grabbing women's wigs on the road.
Yes, I have.
Started from pranks. Ladies who are being pranked, some people just remove your wig. By the time you are agitated, they say, sorry, it's a prank. And so some persons are now leveraging it, stealing ladies' wigs. And so many other things. So when you come up with this nasty prank, criminals are looking at it and looking at how they can mimic it to perpetrate their acts. So there is to really dig deep into this thing. It is getting too much. That video I saw, as I was watching it, I wasn't watching it to look at the jokes in it. I was looking at it. Imagine this person, even in the hospital premises, where hospital is a place where you go to get better. And you could take a prank to the hospital. Who even allowed it? Which doctor allowed that prank in that hospital? That doctor should be called to question. Thank you, Rose. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Ibinabo, for your thoughts on this. I just hope that we learn better. Let's not be adding problems to ourselves because you want to be funny, because you want to trend, because you want the clicks, because you want the shares, and because you want to earn money from all of these social media platforms. Doesn't mean that you should put another person's life at risk. Now, imagine the people that even pull off the wigs. Now, you know that there's a glue that they use to for the edges, just for the what do you call it? Just for the wig, to be fixated on the head so that it doesn't move or it doesn't shake. Now imagine you coming from the back and pulling that with full force. Can you just imagine the wounds that will come, at the edges of this lady? So when we do things and we say, no, it's funny, it's this, do we even understand how it affects another person? Except if that person is part of your actors, is part of your crew, that's fine and okay. But you can't just do that. The other day I was watching another one. They put a korope where three people were inside, and then they were strangling one man behind, and they were calling people to enter. So a lady entered, and I think she was pregnant also. And you can imagine the speed that she used, eh, to leave that korope. In fact, she was running her slippers left off. So what do you want to run after that kind of person to tell the person now? Or what if something had happened while she was running? What do you say? Anyway, I just hope we learn to do better. This is where we'll wrap it up for today. Thank you so much, Buki and Ibinabo, for coming on today. Tomorrow we'll start with that food processing one because it's very important. Ibinabo don't they shout and hear that Pomo has been warning us about Pomo. And now we have fufu that is being made with a lot of things that we can't even vouch for anymore. Innocent fufu has now turned to something else. So we'll start with that tomorrow morning. But for now, do well to enjoy the day and let's meet up tomorrow at 9:05, God's willing. We'll be back here. Enjoy the day, ladies. So that's it for today. Thank you so much to Ambassador Ambrose and to Ms. Oboli who called in this morning. Do well to have a great day ahead. And I'll let to return to you tomorrow at 9:05 a.m. Thank you so much for staying with us this morning. My name is Rose Yusuf Kaiser. Have a great day ahead and stay with us at Lumen Radio WFM